everyone, welcome to today's live stream. I am doing today's talk about how much 16% protein goat feed your doe needs if she is nursing kids. So if a goat is milking, the standard recommendation is that she needs 1 pound of 16% protein goat feed for every 3 pounds of milk she is producing. Plus, she needs alfalfa hay. At least 50%, but 100% is even better. And she can have as much hay as she wants. So we're not going to be talking about hay because hay is pretty much free choice. Hay and pasture is pretty much free choice. They need to be able to eat that all the time. But when they are on the milk stand, or if they're nursing kids, you can feed them with the kids in the morning and the evening. Although if it's a first-time freshener, I would recommend putting her on the milk stand once a day to get her grain so that she associates getting on the milk stand with getting grain so that that's easier. And then you just kind of pretend to milk so that she's used to you handling her udder. But if it's an experienced milker, then you can feed her. Usually experienced milkers, you can feed them with their kids twice a day. You know, there are no rules with goats that are engraved in stone because the goats did not read any of our books and they did not consult me when it comes to how they should behave on the milk stand. So anyway, the big question that I get is how much goat feed do I need to give my goat when she is nursing kids? Because I don't know how much she's milking. Well, it's actually not that hard to figure it out. So you want to base this on your kid's weight. Now, I am going to use some nice round numbers for easy math, even though I thought ahead this time and I did the math ahead of time. So y'all don't have to sit here and watch me suffer trying to do math. So let's assume that your goat gives birth to 2 kids that each weigh 5 pounds. Now, first, because the English system of measurements is not as easy as metric, we need to convert pounds into ounces. So a pound is 16 ounces. And if you have 2 kids that weigh 5 pounds each, that is a total of 10 pounds of kids that mama is going to have to feed. And 10 pounds equals 160 ounces. Now, for a baby goat to thrive, they need 20% of their body weight in milk every day. And 20% of 160 ounces would be 32 ounces of milk. So these 2 5-pound kids need 32 ounces of milk. Now we get to convert it back into pounds. And 32 ounces of milk is actually 2 pounds of milk. Now remember, I said that mama needs 1 pound of 16% protein goat feed for every 3 pounds of milk she is making. So that means she needs 2/3 of a pound of grain the day that the kids are born. And when I say grain, please know I am always talking about 16% protein goat feed. You do not want to just give them corn or oats or anything like that because it has half as much protein as a 16% protein goat feed. And they need that protein to make milk because milk is a very high protein feed that is going to make the kids grow big and strong and healthy. And they also need alfalfa in addition to this because that is also very high in protein and calcium. Now, so you think, oh, okay, great. So this is what I'm going to feed my doe. She needs 2/3 of a pound of goat feed every day. Well, not quite, because your kids are growing. Now, I have Nigerian dwarfs, and if they are getting enough milk, they are going to gain, if they're getting this much milk, if they're getting 20% of their body weight, they are going to gain, on average, 4 ounces a day. Occasionally, I have some piggies who gain a little bit more than that, but I want to see them gain 4 ounces a day so that I know they are going to be strong and healthy. They're not going to have problems with coccidiosis. They're not going to have problems with worms. They're going to be very healthy. I could not even tell you the last time I had to give a dewormer to a kid. It's been many years. And I think I've had 3 or 4 kids in the last 10 years that have had coccidiosis. So the key to this is making sure that your kids are getting plenty of milk so that they're getting lots of protein And calcium, there's so much research that shows the importance of a high protein diet to be able to fight off parasites. And there is no way they can consume enough solid food to get enough protein as they can with milk. We all know drinking our calories is the easiest way to get our calories and nutrition. So you want to make sure that these kids are getting 20% of their body weight in milk every single day, which they will get that much if mom is a decent producer and the kids are nursing, and so by 2 weeks of age they're going to double their weight. That means mom has to double her production. This is why I've got other videos on here that talk about how many kids a doe can feed, and I'm really not going to count on the fact that any of my does can feed more than 3 if I want them to thrive. Can a doe feed 4 that will survive? Yes, but at least one of them is going to fall behind. They're not going to hit 20 pounds by 2 months of age, which is the benchmark I want to see all of my kids hit. They're probably going to wind up with coccidiosis. So we didn't know any of this until we started weighing all of our kids, which happened about 12 or 13 years ago. So we've got years of data now on our spreadsheets to back this up, which is where all of this comes from. So as your kids get bigger, they are going to consume more milk, and that means mom's going to need more grain. So you could keep doing the math, or you could just gradually increase her grain until she's getting about what you think these kids are going to need. Nigerian dwarf kids peak at about a quart a day for each kid. So by the time they are 3 to 4 weeks old, 20% of their birth weight is a quart. And that's where they usually stay. If you've got a bucket busting milker that only has twins, then you may have kids that are gaining even more than that. But that is not always the case. So it's really important to weigh kids so that you know how much they're gaining and that they're not falling behind and all that kind of stuff. And like I said, I have other videos that talk about that. And by the way, if you haven't heard, Facebook is going to be deleting all of their live streams within the next couple of months. But I always do these simultaneously on Facebook and YouTube. So every video, when I talk about looking at my older videos, you can find all of them on my YouTube channel. So anyway, in 2 weeks, so right now, if mom gave birth to 2 5-pound kids, she only needs 2/3 of a pound of goat feed. If she's been getting nothing, if she hasn't been getting any grain, which she does, unless she's getting 100% alfalfa, she does need a little bit of goat feed at the end of pregnancy for the increased protein. Again, whenever I say the word grain, I am always talking about 16% protein goat feed, because something like corn is like 6 or 7% protein. Oats is like 8 or 9% protein. It is not nearly enough for a doe that is growing babies and making milk. So you need to give her a 16% protein goat feed in addition to the alfalfa. And so mom gets 2/3 of a pound of the goat feed when the kids are first born. If she hasn't been getting any, and you need to start her on that, start with like 1/3 of a cup, like the first day, and then the second day you can give her, not a cup, 1/3 of a pound the first day, and then the second day you can give her the 2/3 of a pound. And then by the time her kids are 2 weeks old, she should be getting twice that. So she should be getting 1 1/3 pounds. And then as you see the kids' weight increasing, you need to increase the amount of grain that you are giving mom up to the point that the kids are at that max, which, like I said, for Nigerians, they usually max out at about 32 ounces a day. And the reason we know this is simply because of the bottle babies that we've had. We discovered when we had bottle babies that they really thrived when we had them max out at 32 ounces a day. back in the beginning when I got started in 2002, people would max out Nigerian dwarfs at 24 ounces a day. And that makes me so sad to think of that now. And also I realized like that's why we saw coccidiosis in almost all of our kids back then. At a quart a day, maxing them out at a quart a day around 3 to 4 weeks when they are big enough, of course, when that's 20% of their body weight, they do so much better. They're so much healthier. And we don't have that problem with coccidiosis anymore. So hopefully that has been helpful. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to post in the comment section below. Bye for now.